about what it's like to own an electric vehicle. A lot of folks are probably starting to think about electric vehicles. You're starting to see them on the road. There's still not that many of them, and so a lot of folks are probably wondering, what it's like to own an electric vehicle, what's the range like, what's the features and technology like. So I want to go through some of the experience of owning a Tesla specifically. Specifically, this is a Model S. I'm sure a lot of the learnings carry over to Model 3 and the upcoming Model Y. But I want to take you through just some of my personal experience. This is by far just the slickest car in terms of what I really care about, which is the user experience, the experience of actually driving it, the experience of being in it. That being said, there's always things that could be improved, things that could be better, but by far the experience of owning the car and driving the car is so far ahead of anything I've ever experienced before. And I think that's partly, or even mostly, because the car is software first. Most cars that you are familiar with, whether it's a Honda, a Subaru, a Ford, it really starts off as a car first, and a lot of the mechanical components, whether it's the engine, the drivetrain, the transmission, how the car is set up, is very mechanical. And I've often felt that the software is an afterthought. So the user experience of the screen, the maps and navigation, on many cars I've driven, the maps and navigation are absolutely unusable. The music system just is kind of just enough to get you connected to Bluetooth so you can use your phone's usable UI to play Spotify or whatever. And so most of that software is just complete garbage.
Or press search to find a particular track or file using the up and down arrows to scroll.
And so the Tesla user experience is very different. The Tesla user experience is definitely software, and it's software that's really well designed. I think the easiest analogy to explain it would be that, prior to the iPhone coming out, everyone had cell phones, but the cell phone experience wasn't that great. And when the iPhone came out, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like this is so much better. And that obviously swept the world. And that's really what I think the Tesla user experience is like. The car has amazing acceleration. This has been widely reported. You step on the gas and the car just goes. Incredibly responsive in terms of acceleration, incredibly responsive in terms of braking. All of the core characteristics that you care about in terms of driving the car absolutely has. So when you first get an electric car, there's definitely a switching mental kind of range anxiety. As I said, I've had the car for a little over 2.5 years. I think in my entire time, I've never run out of electricity. And I've only really experienced range anxiety once, where I kind of was pushing the distance that I could go. I think each year that I've had the car, A, the range anxiety goes down, and B, the amount of chargers that are available kind of out there in the world has gone up. I can go skiing up in Maine, I can go to New York, I can drive across country if I want to. The charging infrastructure has gotten really, really good. That being said, you definitely watch how many miles you have left. The one key habit or thing that you change is you no longer go to the pump. And so, at night, when I come home, I plug in the car. I don't even plug it in every day. I know some people plug it in every day. I plug it in every third or fourth day. And that tops up the car while I'm sleeping. I get in the car in the following morning and the car is good to go. I would say if you are getting an electric car, my one not even regret, but like if I were to buy another electric car, I would definitely max out the range of what's possible on the car. You just end up, appreciating that extra range. And so while it's not a big deal, I got the lower end 75 kilowatt battery pack for this Model S. If I were to buy another electric car, I would definitely go for a long range battery pack. A couple core reasons to get an electric vehicle, and especially a Tesla. First is safety. Number one safe car in the world. Just incredibly well constructed. Second consideration is just fuel economy. You're not burning gas. You are getting your electrons delivered directly into your car. And so if you care about climate change, carbon footprint, great reason to get an electric car, and it saves you money. Third reason is technology, and that's definitely one of the reasons that I got the car. Is I love leading edge technology, and owning a Tesla is really unlike any other piece of technology. You are constantly getting updates, and in the 2 years that I've had the car, it's just gotten better pretty much every week. The new features just in the last 2 years. So when I got the car didn't have these features. And then over the last 2 years, I'd wake up in the morning and there'd be a new software update, and the car would have a new feature, a new capability that it didn't have before. Easy entry seats, Spotify, navigation on autopilot. The car will automatically get on and off freeways. Automatic lane changing, automatic wipers. The car is constantly getting updated with these new features, with new technologies, and it's just amazing to see the updates and to see the improvements in the software and how the car drives. I first got the car. Honestly, the autopilot wasn't very good. It was incredible that the car could do anything. And so from kind of a pure black and white perspective, it's just amazing that you can be in a car and it can keep the lane and it can kind of drive you on the highway. But there's all sorts of issues 2 years ago. You'd switch lanes and it would be like, my God, the car would flip you to the left and the right, and you're a little bit nervous. It's definitely still not perfect. I think true autopilot from one location to another location, it's probably going to take a little while to get that technology perfected, but literally every week, every month, that software is learning, it's getting better, and it's improving each time. Honestly, each time we drive the car, it's able to do turns that it had trouble before. It's able to recognize stop signs and stoplights that it wasn't able to recognize before. And so again, little by little, the technology is getting better. Autopilot wouldn't be kind of a reason to get a Tesla, but it is an incredible benefit of having one. It's getting better and better, and I do think it definitely reduces strain when driving longer distances. I don't know any other car, and I'm sure there's one out there, but I don't know any other car where there's a mobile app that's actually useful for the interaction of the car. So Tesla makes a fantastic mobile application. It lets you interact with the car in a multitude of ways. You can lock it and unlock it. On the Model 3, it can actually be used as a key to get you access to the car. On the Model S, which I'm driving now, it can both lock and unlock the car. It can warm up the car and the seats. It can tell you where the car is. You can put the car into valet mode. If you loan the car to your kids, you can actually put a speed limit on the car so that the car can't be driven too quickly. You can put a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit so your teenagers don't go joyriding your car. And it's just really nice to be able to have that interaction. There's a number of advanced features like advanced summon, where if it's raining, you can call your car from a parking lot and it will drive to you like Kit from Knight Rider. Again, the software is not perfect. Getting software perfect is incredibly hard, but the software is definitely better than any software experience I've seen on any other car by a long shot. Getting it to this level of simplicity is incredibly difficult. So what are some of the drawbacks, some of the things I don't like about Model S, and especially now that I've had the car for 2 years? What are some of the things that folks should know about owning an electric car for a couple of years? The first is that the hardware gets older, and so some of the features that are released onto the latest and greatest models of cars, I'm not getting every single feature or every single enhancement. That's a little bit frustrating because you'll see whether it's Elon Musk or new news releases or Model 3 drivers getting certain features. Early 2018, Tesla changed out the computer to be a faster computer, which is great. But people who bought the car in late 2017 had the older computer. And so some of the features that I'm sure work on newer generation cars are kind of laggy, or in some cases don't even work on my car. Again, it's software, but sometimes it's software mixed with hardware. And so things like the web browser don't work anymore. Not the end of the world. Obviously, don't need to browse the web while I'm driving the car. But there are other features that are announced, like Tesla Theater, where you can kind of watch movies and have Netflix. Again, not something I necessarily do, but each feature you're like, maybe would I use that? Maybe that'd kind of be neat. To some extent, that's no different than an iPhone or an iPad, where the latest generation of iPhone may have certain features or certain functions that older generations don't necessarily get. Something like an iPhone, maybe you can upgrade your iPhone every year. I think it's a little bit harder to upgrade your car every year. I love Elon Musk, and he's always talking to customers, and he's kind of listening to what people want from their vehicles. But one drawback is he's also making promises that he doesn't always keep in terms of timelines and updates and things of that nature. Full self-driving is going to be working in 2019. Well, it's 2020. It's not working yet. There's certain upgrades that he said would be ready months or even years ago. They're still not ready. So just, cool it on the Twitter promises. I don't mind that self-driving will take a while. Like, I want it to be right. And I personally don't have expectations that it will be done this year or next year. It's going to be an incremental, getting better and better and better. So just, having fair expectations of when things are coming, I think would make the experience a lot better. The last thing I'll say about owning a Tesla is that it's incredibly fun. I think I've never owned a car that's been so much fun to own, both from the driver experience, the updates, the software, the app. Owning a Tesla just is a ton of fun. It's great for the environment. It helps get you onto the movement of electrification of the automobile. And it's just incredible blast to have, and couldn't recommend it more highly to anyone thinking about a new car. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you'll continue the journey and join me next time.